Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is January 21st, 2020. Listen, folks, as I mentioned in my last live stream just a few days ago, I mentioned that we would possibly get another sighting of this object, and sure enough, we did. I also mentioned that we would see it on the left side of the sun as a coronal mass ejection, once again, would illuminate this object. And, sure enough, folks, the 28-day orbit that I've developed over the last couple of years and that model, along with some new techniques and some new software, I am now able to capture this object just about every single time. The photographs that I'm going to show you today, they are absolutely spectacular. I'm going to try to make this live stream quick instead of my normal hour and a half to 2 hours. So just bear with me. But I'm still using and practicing with this new software. And over the last couple of days, I've developed once again another technique where it's allowing me to see this object clear as a bell. Now, I wish we were able to see it like we were looking through a telescope, but that's not possible with the technology that we have. But I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the SEEDS website. I'm going to show you guys this coronal mass ejection, which occurred on the 19th. And due to the Earth's orbit around the sun, we're actually getting a different view of this object at a different time. And I went back in all of my notes from 2019 and then back to 2018. And during the months of January through April, we were getting different views of this object, once again, because of the placement of Earth in its orbit. Our orbit is much, much longer, much larger than this object's. So we're in a 365-day orbit. This object is in a 28-day orbit, and that's why we're able to catch these different views. And I've been thinking about this for a long, long time. And then finally, just the other day, I don't know, just a spark illuminated in my mind, and it just came to light for me. I hope all of you can maybe understand what I'm talking about. It is a little difficult to visualize. The Earth's orbit is so long, 365 days. And this object's orbit is very acute, very tight around the sun, and its orbit's only 28 days. So yes, during our orbit around the sun, we're going to get a different perspective of this object. And I mentioned that in my other live stream. So let's get right down to brass tacks right here. And let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me get out of here and let me make sure we're all good to go. I'm going to bring this up here. You know what? Before I bring this up, I wanted to show you guys the coronal mass ejection. I have all this on a video, but we're just going to pull it directly from the SEEDS website. And the 19th was the target date, and I was watching very, very, very carefully, and I was hoping that they would not mess with the data, by not putting it up. You've heard me and Mark both complain that the SEEDS website can go sometimes 5, 6, 7 days without posting the data like they normally do every single freaking day, like they should. I don't know if they're trying to clean the garbage up or what, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and blow this up so you guys can see this. You see the date right up here. This is the 19th. And this is taken from the LASCO coronagraph. This spacecraft sits 1 million miles away from Earth, out in front of us, between the Earth and the Sun. So the view that we're getting right here is like, we're standing on the Earth and we're looking directly out at the Sun. This satellite probe is 1 million miles away from Earth, closer to the Sun. So it's about 92 million miles away from the Sun. So sure enough, this coronal mass ejection is detected, the CME. As soon as I saw this, I said to myself, holy hell, this is it. Man, right on time. And I mean right on time. I mean right to the day, the 19th. So the reason why I didn't go live with this yesterday or the day before is because sometimes, well, the majority of the times, this SEEDS coronagraph program, it will start off with just a few frames, maybe 10, 20 frames. And then 24 hours later, they'll upload more frames. I guess as the data comes in, I'm really not sure what these people do there at NASA with these probes and the information and data that comes in. But anyways, I waited, till this morning, and sure enough, we're right on the money. So this is the coronal mass ejection, and it may not look like much to all of you, but over all of these years, I've pretty much trained my eyes on picking this object out. And it doesn't take much concentration for me anymore to spot these objects, or this main large object. This time around, sure enough, baby, we got the big monster, and it's going to be right in front of our eyes. And then I'm going to show you the new technique that I was using. I just discovered the technique very, very early this morning at about 3:30 a.m., playing around with this programming, and finally figured it out. But I'm going to go ahead and, well, this was the coronal mass ejection. So you can see it was pretty big. This was not Earth facing, so we don't have to worry about that. Now I'm going to go ahead and decrease this screen, and we're going to back up. We'll move to the 20th, and you can see here on the 20th, nothing's left, just the very little tail end of this coronal mass ejection. Now we're going to move over real quick to the CME tracker. Bring this bad boy up so you can see it. Up top here, you see the little color code for the planets and also the other space probes that are out there. Right here in the center, the white dot is the Sun. The yellow dot is the Earth. Watch very carefully right here. You'll see that coronal mass ejection. And what is very, very suspicious to me, and me and Mark were talking about this in the middle of the night. You see that green square? See that green square right there? Yeah. You look up here to the color code. That's the new Parker space probe. Yeah. That's the one they sent out there a while back, and it was supposed to go out and kiss the Sun. It is very suspicious to me when I'm looking at this spiral graph that at the exact same time that this coronal mass ejection was set to go off, this Planet X object was passing upward. Bingo. The Parker space probe is right there, right on time. So there is no doubt in my mind. You could see it right there, the little square. And you see the coronal mass ejection coming out. The coronal mass ejection actually blew right between Mercury and Venus. That really doesn't have anything to do with anything, just pointing those two planets out. Mercury in the orange, Venus in the green. And you have Stereo A, which is another space probe that's looking at the sun from a side position over to the left. And the coronal mass ejection headed right towards it. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But anyways, the Parker Space Probe is equipped with all kinds of new technology, man. All kinds of new technology. So to me, my conspiratorial realist mind tells me that the boys in blue at NASA knew that this object was coming past. It was going to create a coronal mass ejection, just like it has twice a month, every single month for the last couple of years, as I've been documenting this. So sure enough, there you go. So there is a very, very high chance, maybe 100%, that they've been tracking this object. They're photographing it with all of the sophisticated imagery that they have on that probe. Why can't we get the data as public viewing like we do on all of the other space probes? The SDO, LASCO, SOHO, the coronagraphs. Why can't we get it? Oh, well, I'll tell you why. Because we would probably get crystal clear images of this object. And this, to me, today, is no damn coincidence that that probe was at the precise location at the right time to record the coronal mass ejection and probably get some spectacular shots. But you know what? We'll never see that data. But you know, I've got my own techniques, and they seem to be working just fine. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I just wanted to point that out to you guys because it may not mean much to any of you, but it means a lot to me. That is telling me for sure, man, they are tracking this son of a bitch, and I know it. And that is the reason why they built that Parker Space Probe. Why wouldn't they send a probe out to the sun 10 years ago? We had the technology. We knew how to slingshot the damn thing towards the sun. But no. All of the exposure on this object from people like me and some others, exposing the truth, yeah, they said, you know what? It's time that we get out there. It's time that we see what is affecting the sun. They're just not going to spend $1 billion on some damn space probe to shoot it out there and go see how hot the sun is. No, no, no. This is a special probe, and it was built to withstand the temperatures getting close to the sun. And look, folks, people argue all the time with me about, oh, it's impossible for, this object to be that close to the sun. But, folks, you need to go and investigate the knowledge of the sun and how close you can get to it. So it's really not that hot. Getting that probe that close to the sun. 1,500 degrees. It has these heat shields, and as you can see, look how close it gets. It gets within 4 million miles of the sun. Mercury is 39 million miles away from the sun. So that's why Mercury survives. It's hot on one side of Mercury and cold on the other side of Mercury. So there's your answer, and for the questions that, it's impossible for that thing to be that close to the sun. It would burn up, it would explode. No, it would not. So I'm pretty hyped up about this today, folks, because these new techniques are working, and they're working beautifully. Let me go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to pull this image up. First image I'm going to pull up, this is a rough draft, and this is taken directly from the Core 2. No, is this from the Core 2? Oh yes, this is from the core too. I captured this morning. I went back into the data. It seemed like they loaded a few more frames. Yesterday there was only 9 frames. Today there was 26. Within those 26 frames, you see right there, baby, you could see the outline, the big teardropped outline of the coronal mass ejection. But right there, baby, right there, there she be. I have a better photograph of it, but we'll zoom in just a little bit. It pixelates a little bit because I didn't have a chance to create a high definition image of this. It is highly pixelated on this difference coronagraph, but that doesn't matter because I got a better picture. So let's bump out of here. I'm still learning how to use this program, so bear with me. We'll get out of here. So let me exit out of here all the way. Then I'm going to show you another spectacular photograph. So this was on the 19th. Now, this photograph has been, the pixels have been increased. It's in a higher definition. And you can see the big black occulter. Now, the big black occulter, this big black circle, that is not the size of the sun. That's just a little disc inside of the camera that blocks out the rays of the sun, so they can see the coronal mass ejections as they spew from the sun. So just like I've said before, folks, if you shine direct light into a camera, you're not going to see anything, and you're going to get lens anomalies like all of you are used to seeing all over Facebook and all over YouTube, people claiming that they're photographing planets out by the sun when they're nothing more than lens flares. So that's why the occulter is there. Right here, enveloped in that coronal mass ejection, once again, you can clearly see it. And this object, as it came up, and I'm going to show you the actual video to it, and you're going to see it. Now, the coronal mass ejection came straight out from the equatorial region, the midpoint of the sun, the equator of the sun. This happens twice a month, beginning of the month and towards the end of the month. However, we're seeing this from a little bit of a different perspective now because of the position of the Earth in its orbit, as I explained in the very beginning. I know I'm going kind of fast, but I'm trying to get this all in, so I'm not dragging this out for 2 hours. So anyways, I'm going to show you the video, and you're going to see this object not follow the path of the coronal mass ejection straight out. You're going to see this object moving upward, just like the model. Now, the model that I showed you guys, the 28-day orbit, that's only one perspective, okay? As we orbit around the sun, we're constantly getting a different perspective of this object because of our orbit and its orbit. Its orbit is tight, 28 days. Ours is wide, 365 days. We are 93 million miles away from the sun. So again, our perspective is going to change somewhat. The reason why I'm so excited today is because I actually caught this damn thing moving upward. Now, within the next couple of days, it's going to be making its tight loop back around the sun, and it's going to be coming back down. Okay? Now, we may or may not catch it again right at the end of the month, possibly between the 29th, 30th, and 31st. Mark my words, 29th, 30th, 31st. We may catch it again. It may produce another coronal mass ejection. But even though all of this is happening right now on your screen, all kinds of things were happening here on Earth at the same time. The Schumann resonance went ballistic. Okay? Earthquakes, 3 magnitude 6.1, 6.2, and a 6.0. Boom, boom, boom. They all went off. Now we have swarms of earthquakes occurring off of the west coast of the United States, Mexico, on the west side out there near the Pacific. Nothing on the other side of the earth. Okay? I'll show you guys that here shortly. Also, I did a short video late last night showing this crazy combination of two major cyclones that just basically came out of nowhere and are forming in the northern Pacific. It's almost like that movie, The Perfect Storm. These two storms are going to merge, and they're going to hit the west coast of the Pacific Northwest of the United States and Canada. We'll get into that shortly. But anyways, here is this bad boy, and you could see it. It's huge. And when I tell you folks that this object is 5 to 7 times the size of Jupiter, man, I mean it. This is not some little object. This damn thing is huge. It would have to be a massive object in order for it to affect the sun in the ways that it is, by creating and pulling plasma directly from the sun's outer surface and pulling that plasma instantaneously and creating a coronal mass ejection. And look, folks, science is telling us now that the sun is in a solar minimum. Very few sunspots. If they're, one here, one there, who cares about the sunspots? But the coronal mass ejections, they are on time every single stinking month. What I'm trying to say to all of you this morning is that my data, my information, my investigations, my research is now becoming spot on. It is becoming 100% every single month. So now we know what is happening out there. There's no ands, if, ors about it. This is what's occurring. My biggest fear is the unknown. The unknown going into this solar minimum with the sun. That's an 11-year time span of the sun's magnetic field weakening, the Earth's magnetic field weakening. What else is going to happen? We already see the outbreaks and the increases in the seismic and volcanic activity. Now the weather is being affected even more than it was before. Mark my words again here today, when we move into the spring and summer in the northern hemisphere, you think last year was bad. Wait till you see what 2020 brings this year. It is probably going to open up the eyes of, if not millions, billions of people on this planet. They are disguising it as climate change. Maybe that was the wrong terminology. It is climate change, but it's not being caused by man. And it never will be. And I don't know what life's going to be like 5 years from now, folks. That's been on my mind. Each year that ticks off that calendar, holy hell. What are we really going to be in for? I mean, I don't think we're looking at any type of, earth-ending situation. But things on this planet are going to change drastically. For all of us that are over the age of 30, 35 and beyond, you have memories of what the skies looked like and what the sun looked like. and the temperatures and the seasons. These younger folks don't. People that are in their, early 20s and teens, they don't know. They only know what they are seeing and living in today. The next 5 years, that's what scares me the most. Truly. Anyways, let's jump out of here. Let me show you this other photograph. So this was captured on the 19th during this coronal mass ejection. We'll get to the video on that here shortly. Let me just jump out of here. And this is the photograph that I used the new technique and this new this new software. And again, I'm still learning how to use it. And it is making life a lot easier detecting, photographing, and exposing this information to all of you. I would hope that you guys share these videos also. Share them with people. Try to explain to them what's happening, because I know that a lot of people are having more and more and more and more questions about what is happening. What is happening? Oh, why is our weather so jacked up? Well, question after question after question. But if people would have been listening to me, 3 years and 2 years and even a year ago, then they would fully understand what is happening. So here you go. Here's our coronagraph. Now I am able to take what we just viewed and I'm able to put it into a 3-dimensional model. And this 3-dimensional model now showed us even more. Instead of us looking at just a flat photograph that's completely pixelated, now we're able to look at this in almost 3D. So here is that bad boy right there. It is clear as a bell. It is as clear as it is going to get for our eyes as the public is going to see it. Right here, if you look at that big, gigantic teardrop looking shape and what's in the middle of it, but that big teardrop shape that you see right there, that's the coronal mass ejection that this object created. It literally pulled the plasma from the sun and boom! The actual shape of these coronal mass ejections is something that I've been studying now for the last 2 years. And when I mean study it, folks, I go back in time a year, 2 years, 3 years, and I go back in time and I look at all of the coronal mass ejections on the schedule for every single month in a calendar year. And lo and behold, the shapes of these coronal mass ejections has changed. Reason being, this object is creating them. So therefore, when the coronal mass ejection is pulled from the sun, it is enveloping this object. As you can see right on your screen, it's literally wrapping around the object because the coronal mass ejection speed is faster than that object is orbiting the sun. So therefore, it envelops it right around it. And that's one of the main reasons why in a lot of the photographs over the last year, year and a half, we see that envelopment around this object. It's literally illuminating it. We're able to detect it because the CME is wrapping around it. And if that wasn't the case, we probably would not be able to see this object because it doesn't give off light. It's obviously not a super reflective object like the Earth. The Earth has 70-75% water. The water's reflective. So yeah, if you were looking at the Earth from, like, say, Venus, you would be able to see it very clearly because the sun would be shining on it and you would see the reflection from Earth's H2O. But this is incredible, and we'll go ahead and zoom in here a little bit. It might pixelate just a bit. Here we go. Here's the coronal mass ejection spread out in 3D. There you go, baby. Yeah. It may not have all of you speechless this early morning, but let me tell you, it definitely has me excited. To the point where I'm developing better techniques to show everybody the actual real visualization of this object. Not some damn lens flare taken from a cell phone camera, from Hoboken, New Jersey. Okay? That's impossible. You're not going to see it on a cell phone. You're not even going to see it with a pretty decent telescope. It's just not going to happen, folks. We need to see it from these space probes. That is our only tool that we have. The timing is everything. And, I was kind of hesitant to say what I'm saying now is because, I noticed in 2017 and in 2018, I was revealing in my videos and my live streams how I was making these detections and grabbing these photos. And and it's just my assumption that somebody's listening to me. So therefore, maybe they clean up the data. And I noticed in 2018 things changed on the SDO model, the solar dynamics model, that we get the purple views of the sun showing the coronal holes. The actual definition, the clarity of the public viewing access was like damn near cut in half. And a lot of times frames missing, time on the timestamps missing. Well, check this out. I don't know if they tried to do some hocus pocus with this data, but when I originally captured it on the 19th, just 2 hours after it happened, there were 5 hours of data missing during this coronal mass ejection. I recorded it. Like I said, folks, I got 5 computers in this office, all tied into one network. And I'm recording everything 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, you have to have something like that to be accurate on this info and try to catch every damn thing that's happening. Yeah, so I know somebody's listening to me, so I was kind of hesitant about even disclosing how I do this and blah, blah, blah. Because maybe they'll start deleting more frames. Maybe they'll start taking closer looks at the data before they upload it to public access. If that happens, then we're screwed. And they'll take away another tool, and we will be SOL, shit out of luck. Yeah, but I think that's pretty spectacular. I mean, that is just absolutely incredible, man. Right on time. Right on time. Now, I'm going to jump, this is this big, 2 big cyclones forming in the Pacific. Well, they've already formed. I posted a video on my YouTube channel late last night showing this from the GOES 17 satellite. We'll get into that here shortly. I'm going to bring up this video that I recorded yesterday, and I sent it over to Mark so he could use it. I'm going to pull this up now. Now, one thing I want you guys to pay very, very close attention to. I did record this in a higher definition, like 1080, you're going to see the coronal mass ejection. Pay very close attention to me here, please. You see these blue lines, or these little blue plus symbols right here? That is in the computer imagery. That is showing you the direction of the coronal mass ejection. Okay, so as you see it right here, it's pretty spot on to go parallel to the sun's equator. So it's just literally just going to go straight out into space. If you see the little red plus symbols, that's also detecting some of the coronal mass ejection output. Yeah. It will also this program is outlining this damn thing. If you look right here where my cursor is, now I can't blow this up because this is video, but if you look right here in the center, you'll see this black circle. That black circle is exactly what I just showed you guys in those two photographs. It's right there. It's right where it should be on that date. Now, you see the little red plus symbols? If you notice, they're outlining this object somewhat. They're actually outlining the beginning outburst of this object passing, creating the coronal mass ejection, pulling the plasma directly from the sun. Now, if you had a sphere, let's just use a baseball, for instance, and you blew smoke straight at the baseball, what would happen to the smoke? The smoke would hit the baseball and then wrap around it and then continue outward. I hope that makes sense to all of you. That's the best analogy I could get going on right now. Let me get a sip of this Triple X Death Coffee. Give me 1 second, folks. Okay. Hey, is my microphone on this time? Remember the last time I cut it off for like 8 minutes. So we see that this object is just slightly above the sun's equator. So we see it right here, this black circle. Sun's equator is about right there. Now, I'm going to progress the video. You see the blue plus symbols. That's showing you the direction of the coronal mass ejection. You're going to see this object move upward. Yeah. If it was just a normal coronal mass ejection, it would expand a little bit like that. But this coronal mass ejection is very directional. And that's something that I've been noticing over the last 2 years. These coronal mass ejections are almost like they're controlled by this object's interaction. It's very hard for me to put this into words. Let me think about that for a day or two, and I'll try to explain that to you guys the best that I can. But at this point in time, during this orbit, this object is literally coming upward like this. It is about to pass around the sun very closely, probably within, I don't know, maybe a couple 100,000 miles. And that tight elliptical eccentric orbit is going to bring it back down in about 5 to 7 days. Where does that bring us? Right where I said, at the end of the month. So right now, this object is sailing upwards like this. The position that it's in right now, where this camera caught it, is where it creates the coronal mass ejection near the equatorial region of the sun. Why? Because that obviously is the closest that it gets to the sun. I would estimate that when it is at its closest point, it's got to be maybe 200,000 miles from the sun, maybe a little further. And then as it travels upward slightly, it's going to loop back around and it's going to stay in that 28-day orbit. So right now we're tuned in on it passing upward. It's going to loop around, and you're going to see this object in this video. You're going to see it do just that. Okay, so check this out. See it right there? Right there where that red plus sign is. Where did it move from? It moved from here to there. From here to there. The coronal mass ejection just keeps moving straight out on a parallel, like it should. You could see some arching right here, and that is the remnants of the coronal mass ejection as it continues to spew from the sun, and this object pulling it. Now, this object's being hit from the backside of this coronal mass ejection, and then bingo, it's over just like that. Why is it over just like that? Is because it just created some distance between the sun and its Planet X orbit. Pretty cut and dry. So you will see, I'll let it play. This repeats itself. Now watch it. You could literally see it rolling outward, and it moves upward ever so slightly. That movement upward actually starts to increase as it gets closer. Wait, let me stop it. Right there. Let me back it up just a tad. Damn it. I'm going to have to let that play so I can stop it. Okay, so we really can't see it because it's mostly out of the picture. But here, it went from this area right here to here. From here to here. So you can see it is moving upward like this. We're seeing this from a different perspective now. Why? Because of where the Earth is in its orbit around the sun. Remember, I told you 3 live streams ago. January, February, March, possibly April. These 3 to 4 months are going to be active. We're going to see a lot of earthquakes swarming. We're going to see a shitload of volcanic eruptions. We are going to see absolutely insane, crazy weather anomalies. Things that we've never seen before. And that is all happening. We are only in the first 21 days of January, which means we have all of February, all of March, and then we're going to be into the spring. During that period of time, the Earth is starting to shift on its axis, and we're starting to go into the springtime, summertime mode. We'll be getting a different view by, I would say, April, May, June, July. And we may even see a little bit of a lull in earthquake activity during those months and volcanic activity. A little bit, not much. But you can see that the object did move from here. It's moving outward. And this part of the coronal mass ejection, this dark area right here that looks like a boomerang, that's hitting it from the backside. The remnants of that coronal mass ejection just followed it. So I'm going to let this go ahead and play a little bit more. And then I did zoom in on this. So you can actually watch it spiraling straight upward at a diagonal. Now it's not It's not a real acute shift, but it is enough where you can notice it. And when I noticed that, I said, holy hell, look at that. Let me ask you guys in the live chat, are you seeing that? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Just answer yes or no. I see some people talking about Passover. Forget about the religion stuff right now, the religious stuff right now, folks. Let's center on the actual data. Now, I slowed this down. You see how it moves upward? There it comes. Right there, it made a drastic shift from here to right here, where that red plus symbol is. Pretty spectacular, if you ask me. I mean, this is groundbreaking for me. I don't know about you guys, but this is groundbreaking for me. This is showing me and telling me a lot. And even though I wish the images were absolutely crystal clear, that's never going to happen. But you could guarantee that Parker Space Probe picked it up, photographed it, videotaped it, and sent it back to NASA. And, yeah. So that's what we're looking at right now. That's the still photograph. Now, here, we're going to be looking at the Stereo Core 2 spacecraft. This spacecraft sits off to the left side of the sun, or excuse me, the left side of the Earth. It has a different view of the sun than we do. So it is off to the left. And here, if you follow this timestamp right down at the bottom, you're going to see those 5 hours of missing data. Bye-bye. They cut that shit out of there for a reason. And they probably cut it out is because we would have probably been able to get a really, really good view of it, and they cut it out. So let's watch it. Watch the clock at the bottom. 19, 20. Oh, you know what, folks? My bad. It went from 20 into the next day. I actually cut that off when I recorded it. I could show it to you on the actual site. But see, you're actually seeing the data disappear. If you watch it very closely, you're going to see a skip. And during that skip, that's where the data is missing. 5 hours. So watch it very carefully. You'll see that the video will actually skip. The coronal mass ejection will be here, and then it will be way out here. So they cut that 5 hours out. And that actually tells me how fast that damn thing is moving out there in space around the sun. That damn thing moves very, very fast. For it to move from here to way out here in 5 hours, that's a tremendous speed. You see that skip? Watch carefully. You see that skip? That skip right there was that 5 hours they cut out. They're dirty at NASA. We know that. They're dirty. Now, this is another view. Slow motion. Now, you see that skip? You'll see the missing data. The missing data, I made a mistake. I did record it. The missing data is, I messed up, folks. I'm looking at the 19 as time. That's the date. Look over here where it goes from 0924. Here's the timestamp over here. Far right. Watch it. Five hours just gone. And you could see the skip. Why did they do that? Because we would have been able to see within those frames, we would have been able to get a nice clear shot of it. But I was able to obtain the data. Let me stop right here. I was able to obtain the data, and those were the beginning photographs in the beginning of the live stream that I showed you guys. So they're not as slick as they think they are. Now that I said that, maybe they'll be doing their homework a little bit more. You could guarantee that. This is the view of that camera that we were just looking at. It's called Stereo A. It's situated right here. Remember I told you it was off to the left of the sun? Here's the Earth in green, and here's Stereo A. Stereo A's visual point is that dotted line. Now what you saw in the coronal mass ejection, you see Venus is right here, but Venus is completely out of the picture, way far away from this camera's view. So that was not Venus that you saw, because Venus is not in the camera's view. The camera's view is only that dotted line. And we're talking about, probably about 92 million miles away. So that dotted line is its viewpoint. That coronal mass ejection, I made a mistake with my arrows here. I wasn't paying attention when I did this. But that coronal mass ejection went right here. Right between Mercury and Venus. Right there. So this right here, this is about the point where this object is moving around and it's going to be coming back down. I think whenever it moves up around the top part of the sun and comes back down, I think it's almost like a slingshot effect. And we're going to see that. I attached the 28-day video orbital animation that I did, and it's a little off as in how tight it should be as it loops around the sun. But again, I'm not like some video animator. It was tough enough trying to put this together to give you guys a visual, but it seems like it slingshots once it gets to that very peak of its orbit, and it seems like it slingshots around the sun, and it only takes about 7 days for it to literally loop around and start heading back downward. I believe when it starts to head downward like that, I believe its momentum, its orbit changes in speed a little bit, and then it makes its loop back up and it starts heading back around. I think that may have to do with the sun's gravity that's holding it in place. And now that this screen came up, just as I mentioned, on the 19th, right when that coronal mass ejection occurred, right when we caught the photograph of this object right where it was supposed to be, right on time, bingo, boom, boom, boom. These two earthquakes, magnitude 6.0, Indonesia, magnitude 6.0, China, both on the 19th. Several hours later, going into the 20th, magnitude 6.1, down in the Sandwich Islands. There you go. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. Why? Is because the pattern is continuing. We see this twice a month, every single month. I'm noting it down. I'm going based on my actual observations. I'm not just making it up as I go along. This is just solid proof, solid evidence that this is what is happening. And what's going to happen, like I said, what's going to happen in 5 years from now into this solar minimum, folks, I don't know. You know, it's obviously not going to be good. Things are probably going to get really, really shady. I'll be able to judge a little bit more after we get into this spring and summer. I want to see what the effects are going to be this spring and summer compared to what transpired last year. Now, I was looking at my Facebook page just, maybe an hour ago. And if you're familiar with Facebook, these Facebook memories pop up. And this was a post that I put up on Facebook on the 21st of January in 2018, 6:30 p.m. The same damn day, the 21st. Look at the earthquake activity. Holy hell. Yeah. And on January 19th, the same damn day, January 21st or 19th, 2018, we had another great photo capture during a CME. The same damn day. And then the earthquakes, boom, 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 boom. They started. Here's your damn proof. Right there. The timeline was just incredible. So there's the 21st of 2018. I snapped this quick photograph this morning just before I went on the air. Here we are, January 21st, 2020. What's happening? Yeah, these are high magnitude 5s right here and right here. I could guarantee in a few hours from now, and we'll take a look at it real quick right now because this was 2 hours ago, Puerto Rico still being assaulted by the aftershocks and more earthquakes. Now Mexico, now Central America. And we have this massive two cyclone storm forming out here. But look at California. Boom, 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 boom. All along that Ridgecrest area, all along the San Andreas Fault. Coincidence? I don't think so. I don't know about you folks, but I don't think so. But I thought that was pretty spectacular. I took this earthquake shot, at about 1:30 this morning. And look at this weird pattern. Look at this. You could follow this. Pretty weird. And then all of a sudden, hours later, the earthquakes in Mexico and Central America, boom, boom, they start going off. So we're seeing patterns according to the actual time frame of this object whipping by, and I'll just pull it back up again on the 19th. So what I'm trying to say are those are just way too many coincidences on the dates. 19th, 20th, 21st. We see the coronal mass ejection. We see the object. We detected it. New techniques are allowing us to see it a little bit better. I will continue to learn more about the programming. But I don't think these are coincidences, folks. It's just way too much data correlating together. It's just all coming together is what I'm trying to say. Now, let's move off of this, and I'm going to bring this up real quick because I pay very, very close attention to all of the weather. And whenever I was looking at the GOES 16 and GOES 17 satellites yesterday, the day before, I started noticing these very weird vortexes out in the Pacific. And, I thought to myself, okay, I'll keep an eye on them. And then the next day, they got a little tighter. And then late last night, holy hell. Then I went and got some weather reports, and I'm not the only one watching this. They're the weather gurus, NOAA, and the European weather, and also Russia and China, Japan, they were all watching it also. They will not be affected by it. But the west coast of the United States and Canada will definitely be affected by this. And this may turn out to be one hell of an impact if these cyclones merge together completely, and we're going to go check live. And they get caught up in this erratic jet stream, and they are pulled inland across the United States into Arctic temperatures that are dropping downward in a huge trough. If that's the case, I would say the whole West Coast and the middle part of the United States are going to get just tore to hell with all kinds of crazy weather. And if there's enough juice left in that jet stream, it may be enough to pull it right across into the East Coast. But we're going to check. And I'm going to be keeping a very, very, very close eye on it. Let me bring this up real quick, and I'm going to show you guys. Now, I pulled this from my weather maps, probably about 2 o'clock in the morning last night. Here is the first cyclone. Here's the first cyclone low pressure right here. You could already see it's already dropped all the way down to 983 millibars. Okay, that is in the Atlantic. That's hurricane status right there. Right over here, the larger one, 970 millibars. Yeah, that's hurricane cyclone status right there. You could see the leading edge. They are blending together. They are blending together. You could see it on the satellite imagery right here. They are literally blending together. You could be confused and think that this cyclone's moving westward, but it's not. It is literally getting sucked in because of the erratic jet stream, and the jet stream is very, very strong at this point in time. This is the scary part, because it's literally pulling this cyclone into this one. Naturally, as you can see visually, this one looks much larger. This one looks much smaller. This reminds me of that damn movie, The Perfect Storm, with George Clooney. You know, the fishing boat movie? So yeah, this is a close-up of the larger one that's closer to Russia and China. Here is a broad view of it. You have Alaska up here, Canada, Pacific Northwest right here. And this looks bad. That's all I can say. Looks really bad. Now, I'm going to go back a few frames. Oops, that's Puerto Rico. That's Joe Biden. Let me just click on it. It'll be easier. Now, that one photograph that we looked at, I'm just going to increase this full screen. That one screen that we looked at, it showed the low pressure right here. The one that's closer to China and Russia, 970 millibars. Here is the one that's closer to Canada and the Pacific Northwest of the United States, 995 millibars. Now, this is 1 day advanced. This is today. What happened to the two cyclones? They damn near merged together. Now, we're going to go live to the GOES 17 satellite. We're going to see what it's actually showing in real time instead of the computer models, because I checked every single damn computer model and they were all pretty much the same, stating that the two cyclones were going to merge together. With two cyclones merging together, both at below 1,000 millibars, a lower pressure. I mean, that's hurricane status, folks. If you're a hurricane watcher on the east coast of the United States in the Atlantic, you know that when a hurricane drops below 1,000 millibars, it's bad news. Bad news. Tight winds, high winds, a lot of damage. Then you throw in the Pacific, you throw in that Arctic air, that big trough of Arctic air that is already set in place. It's going to move ashore, and holy hell, it's going to be something to watch. No doubt about it. I'm going to actually bring up real quick the video clip that I made late last night, posted it to Facebook. Jesus Christ, was that loud? You guys check this out real quick. Now remember, I recorded all of this last night at about 2 a.m. and I posted this short video onto my YouTube channel. Not because it was cool looking with all of the colored layovers. It is a warning. Pure and simple. And this looks nasty, man. This looks really, really nasty. And you can see over here, that larger cyclone is not moving westward. It's moving eastward. It is literally already getting sucked up into the other cyclone that's closer to the shores of the Pacific Northwest and Canada. These are all images that I captured last night, right before I went to bed. That's wicked, man. That is wicked. Could you imagine being on a ship out there in the oceans? No way. And then here were the satellite models. And then you'll see them blend together. They're already connected. And then 12 hours later, in the model, they've already merged together. So, you know, possibly within the next 12 to 24 hours, I don't know. I'm going to be watching it real close. But we'll pull up the GOES 16 satellite right now. Or, I'm sorry, the GOES 17. And we'll see what's transpiring right now. You see this? This track right here, that has actually broadened. It was a little bit thinner in the imagery from 12 hours ago. That right there, this leading edge, if this cyclone here, let me just pull this a little closer. Now it's already made its way on shore. It does seem like some Okay, it does look like this cyclone right here, where my cursor is. Apparently, it's being pulled up into the northern tiers of Canada, and this actually may disperse. And then we have the larger one that's further out, the Pacific. So right now, it doesn't look like they are going to merge at this time, unless this damn thing starts hooking around. Oh my. Maybe that's what the computer models were showing. But there wasn't a lot of data on it, so it's hard to say. If that cyclone that's tearing up the northern tier of Canada right now, if that hooks around and comes back down into the ocean as the other larger one over here moves further east, maybe that's what the model was showing, where they literally merge and collide together. This leading edge here, this is what I was worried about, because that would literally, it looks like that's going to bring all of that onto shore right around Northern California and the state of Oregon, and I'm sure the state of Washington will feel some of that. But this big long feather right here, if you look at how it's traveling right towards the northern territory of our border with Mexico. That looks like it's going to move right up into the central part of the United States, combined with that Arctic air that's dropping in that trough that's already over the central part of the United States. Well, let's see if there's a lot of moisture in here. If there's a lot of moisture in here, I mean, that could easily turn into a psycho blizzard. Let's just take a look. Well, there you go. There's all the moisture. Holy hell. Wow. Yeah, that doesn't look good. And you can see that leading edge has already made its way into the southwest. And let's go real quick. I'm going to check the null school, and we'll cut out of here. Let's just check and see how the jet stream is flowing. Well, this is where we're at right here. Wow. See, that leading edge, I'm just going to stop the actual motion real quick, so we could see a little bit better. Wow. You can literally see that big, long, feathered region that we were looking at on the GOES 17 that looked like cloud cover. I mean, that's actually part of the jet stream. You can see it right here. Same shape, same size, same location, and its leading edge is already up into the southwest. New Mexico, probably Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, Utah. I haven't checked on their actual weather situations, but it doesn't look good. And then you can see it's moving straight through the central part of the United States. And then it's going to dip down into the south. Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and Florida. I did get a weather report from Florida, and last night, all the way in South Florida, their temperatures just dropped all the way down to about 40 degrees. And that's rare. I lived in Miami for 22 years. It's very, very rare to get into the 40s, but nowadays it may become a common occurrence during the wintertime. This is going to be definitely something to watch. You can see the jet stream. This is an absolutely abnormal pattern in the jet stream right here. I don't care what any meteorologist says. I don't care what anybody says. What you're looking at on your screen right now is completely abnormal. And that's insane. Wow. Holy hell. This is the jet stream, folks. Get him, baby dog. Get him. Get him. I'm going to have to let my little wiener dog out to go bite my neighbor. So you can see, folks, this is why the weather is insane worldwide. Now, I was talking about earlier in a conversation, I was talking to my man, the Magic Maverick man, and just yesterday, a huge wave and huge surf just started pounding the shores of Spain. It just so happened that there's video of it, but exactly 1 year ago, today, I shared on Facebook another video on the same day from Severe Weather Europe of the same thing happening to Spain on the same day. Is that coincidence? No, it is not. That is showing a very unique and consistent pattern. So Spain got battered yesterday by these huge rogue waves washing on shore. It's crazy. And then it happened last year on the same damn day. So we have the earthquakes, we have the detection of this object, we have these rogue waves whipping into Spain. Wow. And I mean, this is crazy. I can't even begin to think about what's happening to that eastern region right there of Africa. That weather probably is insane. Once again, look at this pattern of the jet stream over the Middle East, where they're getting pounded by flooding rains, snow in the desert. You got the Arabs over there and the Muslims over there. They're sled riding. They got their toboggans out and they're skiing down the sand slopes, but it's like a ski resort. Just yesterday, right here in India, my web developer guy, he lives in northern India, and we were talking on a video conference, and he was terrified. And, I warned him about this last year. We were having the same conversation in October of 2019. I was warning him about this. And, he was like, yeah, things have been getting kind of weird with the weather here. And then now, wow, just totally off the chart. So you can see this jet stream pattern. Let's look at it from the complete top of the world. Let's bring the United States around so we could see the U.S. That's crazy. That's insane. And then the bottom, we haven't even touched on that. And then, on top of all of this, the poor folks down under in Australia, I don't know if you guys seen or heard, they had the craziest hailstorm that blew in. Hailstones the size of freaking baseballs. Man, destroying all kinds of stuff. Putting huge holes through car windows and windshields and denting everything, to hell. And then this massive freaking dust storm that looked like the end of the world. I mean, I shared all of the photographs on our Planet X News group. I shared the photographs on my Twitter and on my personal Facebook page. Insane. If you were looking at this freaking dust storm as it rolled in, and you were looking at it from like a 50-mile distance, you would think to yourself, holy hell, what is that? Now, we've all seen dust storms before. I've seen them in Australia before. I've seen them in the Middle East before. But there was just something about this one that just looked like hell pouring in. So, Australia, folks, and I'm going to go back to what I was saying back in September and October of just last year. And I was warning people that Australia would literally turn into Hades, meaning hell, with the fires, their weather. And then here's the thing, folks. For everybody in Australia, the fires are going to go away. But what's going to come after the fires is probably going to be very, very, very strong storms, very high possibility of cyclonic storms hitting this country multiple times, causing massive downpours of rain. And this is going to be going into their fall season when the Earth starts to change a little bit on its axis. And that jet stream is going to get even more messed up. And they're the biggest body of land in that southern hemisphere region. I think that they are going to get nailed, and little New Zealand is also going to get nailed. And I think we may see some really, really, really bad storms rip through all of the Indonesia islands, Papua New Guinea, all of Indonesia. This whole area right through here is probably going to get wrecked to hell in about 90 days from now. It's going to be a totally different story for these folks. And for the folks in Australia, I know a lot of my videos now are blocked in Australia. They can't see them. They can't pick me up on YouTube. Their government did some nasty stuff with the internet, and that's becoming commonplace. That is another reason why I opened up and I have that private network. It's $5 a month, but my information goes up there first, and I don't have to worry about somebody in another country not being able to see it, because as long as you have the URL and you log in, anybody in the world can see it. But I've got just about no way of getting in touch with all of my subscribers that I had in New Zealand and in Australia. Their governments, they blocked everything. It's a shame. It's a pity. And this is what our world is leading up to. It's a damn shame. But anyways, guys, I wanted to bring that info to you. I wanted to show you that new photo capture, and I'll post the pictures on the Planet X News Facebook page and also in our group. And listen, if you guys are not, if you're not following me on Facebook, you can shoot me a friend request. I'll put my private, well, not really, it's not private. I'll put my personal Facebook page link in the live chat right now. And you guys can send me a friend request, because, you know, I'm constantly feeding information into Facebook. That's why Facebook hates my guts. And even though they're limiting everything that I do, if you guys make a point to get your settings correct on Facebook when you follow any of my pages, you'll always be able to see those notifications. And I'll go ahead and do that right now. We'll bring up Face Puke. And that's my personal Facebook page. All of the other links for everything else is in the description box under the video. And shit. Real quick before I forget. Boo 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 boo. Do 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 do. The new YouTube channel that I opened up a few days ago, we already have 1,800 subscribers. I'm going to be live streaming. I just got my live streaming privilege yesterday from the boob tube, and I'm going to be doing some live streams. We're not going to be talking about Planet X information here on Project Disclosure, but there are a lot of other subjects that I look into on a daily basis that, you know, I don't want to commingle with my Planet X News channel. Also, the Planet X News channel is so highly censored, it almost defeats the purpose of moving into other subjects. So I just decided, okay, what the hell? I'll open up a brand new channel. It's not affiliated with my Planet X News channel in any way, shape, or form. And you guys, I'll put the link in the description box. Oh, wait, it's already there. I'll put the link in the live chat now. You guys can take a minute and go over there and subscribe. But when you do subscribe, and this is the trick, when you hit that little black bell, you subscribe first right here. When you hit that black bell and the drop-down menu comes, you need to click this all. You need to click all right there. When you click all, you will see every notification when I go live, when I premiere a video, or whenever I post a video. Now, the same goes for the Planet X News YouTube channel. The same goes for any YouTube channel that you guys subscribe to. If you're not getting notifications, that may be the reason why. So when you get some time, check that setting on all of your YouTube channels that you subscribe to and make sure it is set to all, and you won't miss anything, hopefully. But Project Disclosure is going to be going into a lot of other different subject matters. There are a lot of things that I dig into on a daily basis. And look, folks, you know, if you don't know me by now, when I get my head wrapped around something, I will go to extreme measures to dig up the truth, the real truth, not what mainstream blowhard media puts out there, but the real truth. Something that I'm going to be live streaming probably later on today is what just happened in Puerto Rico, with these folks finding an entire freaking warehouse the size of 2 Walmarts with all of their hurricane supplies in it from 2018. Yeah. Their stinking government held all of those supplies, all of it, that was donated from people from around the world, from diapers for children to bottled water, food, blankets, medical supplies. They hid it all in a warehouse. And the people of Puerto Rico found it. So I actually have some contacts, some friends, longtime friends in Puerto Rico. I've been talking to them now for the last 48 hours. And I'm telling you what, they are this freaking close to a civil war on that island against the local government. So I'm going to be doing some live streams, probably every day, every other day, but there will be videos, interesting videos posted on this YouTube channel every single day. And, you know, the majority of them will definitely spark your interest. So, you want to show your support? Click that subscribe button. Make sure that when you do, you click that bell, you click all, and you will be good to go. You will be good to go. And share the videos, folks. The majority of the videos will be short. They'll be informational, and you could guarantee that what you're watching will be the truth. My little saying, my little what do they call it? Damn, it just slipped my mind. But Project Disclosure, this is where we will expose and disclose the truth. Slogan, that's the word I was looking for. So check it out. Project Disclosure is now open for business. So you guys can join me there. And I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more exposure. We'll go from there. There's a lot of things going on, folks. There is a lot of things going on that just doesn't have to deal with space. There's a lot of things going on in different countries, a lot of things going on in the news. There's a lot of stories and information that's not getting any exposure. And you know as well as I do that we could not, and I will not, completely trust in the mainstream, lamestream media. You know, I mean, I was so freaking appalled yesterday and the day before about the coverage of what was going on in Richmond, Virginia with the Second Amendment rally there in Richmond at the state capitol. CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, they made a freaking mockery of what was going to transpire there yesterday, with 25 to 35,000 people converging on the state capitol building in this gun rally. And Virginia is an open carry state, just like here in Pennsylvania. But they want to take that Second Amendment away. They want to take your rights away. Remember what I said years ago, and even just my last live stream. They want to continue to take your rights away. Censorship. You can't say what you want. Now the Second Amendment. What is next? So I'm going to be delving into a lot of these things. But yesterday was proof positive that these 35,000 plus people merged onto the city streets and the capital of Virginia, Richmond. Not one stinking arrest, no violence, no destruction, no damage, no rioting, peaceful. They were even picking up garbage off of the streets that was left over after the rally. Yeah. And did you hear a peep about that from the lamestream, mainstream media? No, you did not. The only damn station, Fox News, they were the only news station that had the balls to tell the damn truth and show the truth. And man, I went wild. I went wild on Facebook. I was getting streaming videos in of what was happening on the streets, photographs, news reports coming out of Breitbart and some other right-wing tabloids. And I could not believe the gall of these people that call themselves the news? Now you understand where Trump came up with fake news. They said that it was nothing but right-wing white supremacists. But ladies and gentlemen, there were people there from all color. White, black, brown, yellow, and red, white, and blue. And they all merged together for one cause. And that was to save one of our most important rights in this country. You see, New Zealand has taken these rights away. Australia has taken these rights away. Many other countries in Europe have taken those rights away to protect yourself. And when they do that, they want you to rely on them for your security. And you all know the only person that you can trust with your security and your well-being is you. You. You can rely on yourself and you can trust on yourself. Bottom line, that's the psychology behind all of their garbage. Period. And these are some of the things that I'm going to be touching on heavily in Project Disclosure. So you guys make sure you join me over there and you set that notification, you click on that bell, and let's get down to business, because things are not going to get any better. They might possibly get worse. So now that I'm all fired up, yeah. And then, I went haywire yesterday. I got so upset with the media. I mean, I really did. I got so upset with those bozos. Now Facebook censors all of my my shirts from my t-shirt website. And I don't make a lot of money from the shirts, a couple of bucks. I used to sell probably through 2018, probably about 100 shirts, about 100 shirts a month. 2019, just about the same. And now in January, the boob tube is censoring the shirts that scroll across the bottom of my videos. I had an email conversation with Mark Dice just 2 days ago. And we were chatting about they're doing the same thing to him. They literally censored shirts that have anything to do with Trump, Second Amendment. They remove those shirts from your scrolling bar under your videos. Yeah. I showed you guys that in my last live stream. But I went haywire yesterday. I was so upset with the media. I went and I made some new shirts last night, some new Second Amendment shirts. Pretty badass if you ask me. Second Amendment, I can't even use the word GUN. And I made that one. This one. And they come in all kind of multiple colors. You could pick and choose your color. And this one here was my favorite. I actually bought this one for myself. And it's a metallic logo. Second Amendment. All of these shirts are available on the t-shirt website. The Teespring link is in the description box. And whenever I posted these shirts on Facebook yesterday, Facebook, they make sure that nobody sees these Facebook posts. You know how I know? That nobody likes the post, nobody comments on the post, and they could stay there on my Facebook page for public viewing for days on end. But before they started all that censorship crap, many people would comment on the shirts. They would order the shirts. And yeah, man, that is what social media censorship is doing to us. and it's probably going to get worse. So, if any of you are interested in the shirts, you can check out the link in the description box and go check it out. The shirts are $25, and I always use the top quality material and shirts, and I'm gonna be making up a hell of a lot more. And look, man, it's just a way of promoting what you believe in and starting conversations with people. One of my it's not here. One of my biggest selling shirts, which I have to put back up here today, it just expired, was my chemtrail shirts. And my conspiracy realist shirt. Where the hell's the chemtrail shirt? This shirt right here, I used to sell before they started censoring this stuff on Facebook and Twitter. Oh, this shirt was real popular. This was the most popular shirt. I'll be creating another shirt. I'm going to be doing the same design because the design is only available for 21 days and then it automatically deletes itself. So it just expired yesterday. But, I was easily selling 50, 60, 70, 80 of these shirts right here every single month. And then when somebody sees you out and about and they ask you, hey, where'd you get that shirt? Hey, what's that shirt about? Oh, those lines in the sky? Oh, is that what they are? And that is your opportunity to become a mouthpiece. That is your opportunity to become an advocate for what these scumbags are doing. An advocate meaning to stop what they're doing. Because they're killing us, they're killing the vegetation, they're killing the animals, and they're heating up the earth by that right there on your screen. And that's a fact. There's no such thing as global warming. They are creating the global warming. And we'll get into that another day. I've explained it several times before. But, all of the shirts are for a reason. It's not for me to become some big, gigantic, rich shirt jockey. Because like I said, you make a couple of bucks, big deal. Now, if I sell 1,000 shirts a month, well, that's some cabbage right there. But that's definitely not going to happen. But when you're out and about and you have one of these shirts on, whether it be for your rights here as an American citizen, or you're an advocate or an activist for what's going on, it gets people thinking. It gets those little gears in their mind cooking. And then somebody might strike up a conversation with you. And then that conversation that they had with you, they may take it to their coworkers or their friends or their family. And therefore the network begins. And then it spider webs. And when push comes to shove, folks, the only people that we really have are ourselves. Plain and simple. We. Us. I mentioned that many times in my past live streams. Those two words. Us and we. Because it's never going to be us and them. You know that for a fact. I'm going to leave you all with that. You all stir on that for the rest of the day. But anyways, folks, I'm going to keep a very close eye on that weather situation out there in the Pacific. And I hope the hell that damn storm breaks up but it doesn't look like it is, and it looks like there's going to be some wicked weather moving across the United States, and there looks like there's going to be wicked weather moving across the entire freaking globe in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, all the way around the world. And this is truly the world that we are now living in. And we can adjust. The information has to continue to flow. And there are factions out there that definitely don't want that happening. But with all of us, you, me, and many others, we can continue the flow of the information, sharing the videos, sharing the articles from the websites, joining, reputable groups on Facebook. There's a lot of bad groups on Facebook where they just throw up all kinds of nonsense. But standing up, not being shy, not being afraid to voice your opinion and share something on your social media because you're afraid that your family will think you're crazy, or your coworkers will think you're nuts, or your friends will, not bother with you. Look, folks, I've been through it. Here in my hometown and my area, everybody knew me. I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of friends. Now, they're all afraid to be anywhere near me. Now, they do watch what I post on Facebook. They don't comment on it. They don't want to know anything. Why? Because they're happy with their petty little lives, and they really don't care about what's happening to our world. They don't care what's happening around them because they're content with their little lives. But trust me, in due time, that's all going to change. And you're going to see people around the world waking up by the millions. Trust me on that. Mark my words. All right, folks, listen, be safe out there. Watch your weather. Be safe on the highways. And make sure you guys subscribe to that Project Disclosure. And I'm going to be busting into that story out in Puerto Rico. And I have another big story that I'm working on that is related to Twitter. And it's not looking too damn good for Twitter. Anyways, folks, I'm out of here. I hope you enjoyed and sucked up a lot of information. Be good. Be safe. Take care.